What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unusual Suspects. I'm your very unusual host, Vincent Oshana, and today with me, my cast of unusuals. I have Christy Pradas in the house. I have Shane. I have Connor, and we have David Freiheit, which David, Viva Frey, he has a YouTube channel. The socks that he wore today, if you guys want to see that, what's the story behind that?
The story is, well, first of all, we're talking Justin Trudeau today, so I figured I'd start with the Trudeau pose.
Very Trudeau.
How very masculine of you.
They are my kids' socks. I was running a little late to catch here today, so I took the first pair that I saw. They're very, very comfortable.
They're comfortable, so they're your daughters.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I mean, you have to ask these.
My oldest daughter, she's got to be feet.
But Dana, you know what? I'm going to be asking. It adds like a certain je ne sais quoi. French.
Little personality.
Purple is the new black, as far as I'm concerned, and I actually don't mind the color. So
I actually really like that. That's actually because look at yours. You have the Valuetainment ones on.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's some merch
today.
Some merch available in our merch store.
Represent. Shane's like mine have holes. I have no idea. Mine have holes. Mine have holes in them. But
keep going,
guys. Thank you for joining us today. We have a lot to get into today. I'm going to tell the stories, and I want to give one message about a competition that I'm in. We're going to talk about everything from Canadian reporters are just getting arrested willy-nilly in the street. I'm going to talk about Lil Nas. I'm going to talk about the border, demons. Christy, you're going to talk about what happens when they get into the country, these sanctuary cities. Shane's going to be talking about something about Ayahuasca and demons, and then Connor, you're going to talk to us a little something about our military and the status of our military. But before we even get into any of the stories, I want to say something really fast. For some of you guys that know, I'm in a competition right now, the Race to 500, okay? Pat started this competition on Minnect. Minnect is an app where you can connect with everybody, celebrities. You should get on it, David. For a minute of your time, I'll send you videos. You can ask any questions from God to spirituality to comedy to writing to anything. Kelly's on it as well. If you want to know anything about production, anything about faith, if you want people to pray for you. Guys, I've helped people on addictions. I've helped, just this past 2 days, I've had 70 conversations with people, and it's amazing. I'm in competition with Tom and Adam, and I'm telling you right now, Tom is filthy rich. Like, he opens his car door to his Ferrari, money falls out. And Adam has 2 cats. I don't know if you guys, he's a male with 2 cats. Never trust a man with 2 cats. Who knows what he's going to do with the money that you guys do. But all jokes aside, guys, please scan the QR code. Connect me, ask me whatever you want. I appreciate you guys, and Kelly's on it too.
Let me just say, Vinny, as somebody who talks to you for free every single day, I'd pay to talk to you.
Dude, look at that.
I'm new to Minnect.
Yes.
What is Minnect?
So Patrick, great question. Patrick went to a lawyer, and he sat in there for like 7 minutes, and he left, and the guy, he saw the bill, and it was like however thousands of dollars, and Pat goes, I was in here for 7 minutes, and the guy goes, yeah, we round up. And Pat goes, well, how much do you charge a minute? And the guy goes, well, nobody does that. And it clicked. Pat goes, why not have something where if you want to talk to somebody or engage with somebody, you Minnect with them, you connect for a minute, Minnect, and it's like, dude, think about it. How many DMs you get? How many messages? I don't have time, David. I've been doing it for a while, Christy, but if you look at my phone right now on my social, hundreds and hundreds, I just can't respond.
So it's monetized?
It's monetized 100%. So through the app, I'm going to hook you up after we're done. If you want to text a question, like $10, $15. If you want a video that they could send, like, it's not, what's the one where you could say happy birthday?
Reply.
Cameo. Cameo. This is not Cameo, but then you could book a one-on-one FaceTime through the app with this person and talk whatever you want, 15 minutes, half an hour. It's an amazing app. I recommend everybody download it. It's going to blow up, and this is the ground stages, and
It's very interesting. For those who don't know, practiced law, I did once upon a time see a lawyer who did per minute billing.
Wow.
And I'd never seen such a thing. And I was reading it as per minute billing, as if thinking he was like shrinking his bills.
He's like in a garage, in a small garage.
It was per minute, but, and then, you know, most lawyers, if it's 1 minute, 5 minutes, rounded up to a 0.2, they all have the minimum entries.
Exactly. So it's a phenomenal act, like an app. I went from one guy that was literally on his last leg, and dude, he's in rehab right now, God bless him, and then other people were just praying with me and praying for this and asking for this, or how do you write this, what'd you do first in your career? It's absolutely amazing. I can't promote enough. But that being said, we're gonna go into our first story. David, because you're a Canadian,
I am Canadian,
with pink socks, which I respect. But what the hell is going on with Canada and reporters? What is happening?
The news coming out of Canada is amazing. I mean, today we're getting the news of Jordan B. Peterson's order for re-education being confirmed by a court of appeal now that affirmed the Superior Court's decision, which ratified the Order of Psychologists of Ontario's decision to order Jordan Peterson to re-education, literally, for social media retraining.
He has to.
He has to.
And this is going back to
it's going back a good year and a half.
Is it the female? Because the female turned male that he made the video.
Well, it goes back to, I'm putting out a separate video today about this, just breaking down, because this wasn't my topic. This didn't happen when we,
Got you.
The tweets at issue, one concerns Ellen Page, where he says,
Ellen Page.
That's right.
It used to be pride was a sin, and now a criminal doctor cut off the breasts of Ellen Page. That was one of them.
Yes.
Another tweet was where he said, these plus-size models are not attractive. No amount of authoritarian regime is going to make me say otherwise.
Beautiful.
We'll see about that.
Brilliant.
So that's the news out of Canada for Jordan today. But my story was about, I said I was going to put it on international blast and not leave it alone for a little while.
Yeah.
Rebel News, you guys familiar with Rebel News? Okay.
Of course.
They do good work, and I don't care if you don't think that they're a news agency or journalists, you think they're activists. I don't care.
Yeah.
David Menzies was arrested trying to ask the Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, a question, a totally legitimate question, arrested in such an egregious way that when we watch the video, you're going to say, this looks like a shtick.
And what he was, okay, and so just to clarify, the reporter's asking, he works for Rebel News.
It's called he calls it a scrum. He's just sees her on the street, follows her, asks her a question.
And what's the lady? She's the one that did
Chrystia
the
Freeland
decision?
is a minister of finance, a minister of, geez, I think
Whatever.
a minister of finance. Whatever.
And
She's up there. She's like the second most powerful person in Canada after Trudeau.
Wow.
After Trudeau, and he just wants to ask her a question of what's the topic?
The topic was on the Iranian not recognizing the IRGC as a terrorist organization.
Got you.
But wait until you see what happens. You will not believe your eyes when you see it.
Okay, this is Canada for us. Go ahead.
Canada's Rebel News is threatening a lawsuit after an altercation between one of its employees and the Deputy Prime Minister's security detail. Here's CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver.
The Deputy Prime Minister was on her way to an event in Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Why is your government supporting Islamo-Nazi?
When Rebel News' David Menzies tried to
Washed
ask
up there, right there.
Oh, who's that guy?
she didn't answer.
Who's that guy? Good
then
question.
Menzies and an RCMP officer made contact.
Under arrest for assault.
The RCMP telling Menzies repeatedly
They ripped the mic
he's
off.
under arrest for assault.
And
That
she's happy.
prompts
She's
this
smart.
Dude, he got arrested for assault?
That guy.
You bumped into me.
What assault occurs?
Menzies was then cuffed and put into the back.
What?
They released him before
Later
they even
released
booked him.
without
But
charge.
look at this, cuff
In a
him.
statement, Rebel
Dude.
News says we have retained
Wait,
legal
look
at that
counsel
face.
and
That's the
expect to
face of
sue
someone who
the RCMP,
cannot believe
York
what just
Regional
happened.
Police,
Retained
and
legal-
Freeland.
Oh, dude, 100% he's
They're
suing.
They're gonna sue.
Who is, and where's he standing out in front of? This is like in front of the, like this.
He's on a sidewalk in the middle of the
It's like a
street.
parking lot.
The dude that
Public
arrests
area.
him,
Says they won't
plain
comment
clothed,
matters of Freeland.
nudges him with his finger, and then says, "You're under arrest for assault."
Wow, Canada's no joke, huh?
And we can
it is
kill
a
the
joke.
video.
Yeah, we
now.
can kill it, Joe.
The most shocking thing, it's not the first time. David Menzies was violently arrested previously. I covered that story at the time. Alexa Lavoie, another Rebel News journalist, was covering the Ottawa protest, shot in the leg point blank by a tear gun canister from an RCMP officer. Drea Humphrey, also manhandled by, I don't know who, if it was the RCMP. It's an all-out war in the context of what we just saw happen to Gonzalo Lira in Ukraine. A journalist, even if you think he's an activist, arrested, detained, and then ultimately killed in jail or allowed to die. We're not far off. It's just a matter of degrees in Canada and in the U.S. But that's it. They're going to sue. They released him within a matter of, I'd say an hour or so. Took him to apparently from his interview, he says they took him to a schoolyard or a backyard of a school and then released him. I was like,
Wow.
they take you cuffed to a schoolyard and you're not crapping your pants?
What are you, a deer? Yeah, what do you mean? Like, did they put a hood on his head? Like, what the?
And,
This reminds me of a scene from Game of Thrones that I remember watching where, like, Ned Stark was asking Lord Varys, he was like, why was this guy Jon Arryn? Why did he die? And the guy answered, he started asking questions.
Yeah, I
That was
remember
literally
that.
It was literally, this reminds me of that. Like, he's just asking a
It reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons. It's a Treehouse of Horror episode when Krabappel was sending all the kids to detention so they could turn them into food. You don't remember this one? Anyway, and so she was looking
They're
for
always
any
ahead of
excuse
it.
for detention. So Martin or one of the kids, his pencil falls off the desk and it zooms in on Krabappel's face and she goes, detention. The way this cop put his hand out, arrested. I was like, what
Wow.
And if there were no cameras, it would just be Menzies' word against a plainclothed RCMP.
Were they in front of? Oh, go ahead, Shane. Say what you're gonna say.
I was going to say, David, before the camera started rolling, you were talking about a journalist that reported Peterson's tweets to the government.
Oh,
and I was just like processing that. Like, so you think that you're a journalist, you're speaking truth to power, but you're telling on a professor, an independent professor, to the government to get him thrown in jail or get his licenses removed? Like, what goes through these people's heads?
They have been, well, what goes through their heads is they're dependent on the government for their existence, whether it's through discrete funding, government ads, direct bailout. And yeah, in the Jordan Peterson context, there was a journalist no longer working at the organization at which this journalist worked, retweeted, oh, I wonder if in the context of their investigation they saw this tweet, and quote tweets what she thinks was an offensive tweet from Jordan Peterson, which was actually just a tweet pointing out the fact that Elon Musk has done a good job attacking CP on Twitter.
I absolutely love that. So, and outside this building, why there were so many cops? Is that like a state house, a state building? Was she going to work?
I'm not actually sure, but these were the hired goons of Chrystia Freeland.
Of course,
so she was asked later on.
Yeah.
What does she have to say about what does she have to say about this arrest? We have that video, right?
Which one?
It's the one where. Oh yeah, there
right
you go. Okay, so she's asked. Watch the smirk on this. She's ugly spiritually, not physically. Watch the smirk on this ugly person's face disappear.
Okay.
Make of your security detail arresting David Menzies.
Bam.
So.
And listen to this answer.
I want to start with what was important about Monday. And what was important about Monday, January 8th, was that was the 4th anniversary of a date that I think forever needs to be marked and circled in black on the calendar of all Canadians. It was a tragedy for Canada. Canadians were criminally murdered. And I want to say to the families and loved ones of the people who were murdered that Canada remembers, Canada will not forget. And that's why I was in Richmond Hill. Marcy was there too, to show that this is a Canadian tragedy, that Canada remembers and Canada will not forget.
And will not forget.
Right.
The incident, as you guys know very well, Canada is a rule of law country. Canada is a democracy. Operational decisions about law enforcement are taken by the police of jurisdiction. Quite appropriately,
the police.
Political elected officials have no role in the taking of those decisions, and that's why I don't have any further comment.
That was painful.
That was a long video for someone with no comment.
Well, yeah. But appreciate it's like clinical abusive behavior. She's asked, what do you have to say about your police, it's yours, arresting this journalist? She goes into a 1-minute diatribe about the sympathy that she has for the victims of the downing of the Ukrainian flight 4 years ago. And now she uses the word murdered. And she tries to shield herself in the victimhood of the people that were killed on that plane. And disgustingly enough, it took Trudeau about a week before he recognized that plane being downed by, deliberately back in the day. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, I remember this.
Took him a week to stop referring to it as a plane crash. At first he was calling it a plane crash when everyone was saying the plane didn't crash, it was shot out of the air deliberately. But he didn't want to make any enemies back then.
Of course.
So instead of answering the question, 60 seconds of disgusting shielding behind victims of violence. It's atrocious.
I still cannot believe the cop did what he did. Which, by the way, I hear an echo in that camera. That's what it is. I hear an echo in that camera over there, or the TV's on. But the fact that speaking, asking questions, and they're protected at that point, that's why I do that. And I say this every single chance I get. Thank God. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Elon Musk spending all the money and doing what he did is such that's probably one of the greatest things. I get the spaceships and flying to Mars and all that stuff, but giving us a forum to talk. And because, now, I get everything. I'm not even joking. I've shifted completely to X. X is where I get to see everything. And he's giving it to us. Don't get me wrong. There's mean people there. You might get your feelings hurt, but at least I get to see everything, Dave, and I get to make my own decision.
For the interactive stuff, it's of immeasurable value. For the long format video content, I mean, it's what Rumble is doing right now. I think Twitter or X and Elon learned a little something from Pavlovsky and Rumble, and now they say, well, we want to put some long format content as well, and they're really working that angle. Rumble for the long format, for the stuff that we get demonetized for or deplatformed for on YouTube, and for the free discourse, dude. Other than overt threats on Twitter, I mean, there's nothing that bothers me. Call me whatever you want. DM me whatever you want. But it's where we can have these discussions now.
You have to, and dude, that really, really bothers me. And I think in the U.S. we're a little bit not as bad as in Canada, especially that's unbelievable, bro.
It was unbelievable.
That's unbelievable that's a setup, and it's like he has to win the suit. There's absolutely
But for the fact that it was on camera, no one would give it the credence that it deserves or the credence to his story. No one would believe that it could be so atrocious.
And to Vinny's point, where do we get that video? It was on X.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because it doesn't matter where they captured it on video. If they try to post it on YouTube, if it's under the old regime of Twitter, that video doesn't go anywhere.
It's very important because Rebel News has been wickedly suppressed, demonetized by YouTube. There are certain videos that the second you put them on YouTube, they will get systematically demonetized, one of which is showing the abuse of the veterans by the police during the Ottawa protests. There's one video in particular, I try to keep putting it on blast, and I do. Every time it's in a video, the video gets demonetized. It's like they algorithmically identify that video and soft suppress it by demonetizing anything that has it.
Did you guys see what the because the WEF, the demons that are running the world with the worst accents, listen to me.
The worst.
Klaus Schwab's, like, what was Klaus? Imagine his first words. The virus. Like, I hate.
Domination.
Like, yeah, these. By the way, every person that's speaking up there, the majority have these crazy, scary accents. And when you have that accent, you're telling me about the future and what the world should look like in your crazy accent.
Eyes.
I don't trust them. I don't trust them from the beginning. And then you have, my favorite, Bill Gates. Yeah, now virus. I don't trust him at all, or Klaus Schwab. But my point I'm trying to make is they're meeting right now in Davos, right?
Yep.
The WF is there right now. Did you see their 2-year plan? Or was it the 5-year and then their 10-year plan of what their most pressing things that are happening in the world is?
Wow.
And for the 2 years...
Misinformation,
disinformation, as if they're two different things. They're worried right now. So basically, because it's election year, this next 2 years, that's information is power, as we all know. That's their number one threat. But then they showed, what was it, Shane?
So I was going to say, it's election year not just in the States, but in 50 countries across the planet.
60?
Yeah, across the
So
60.
Pat did a video on that, on 2024 predictions and how it's going to be chaotic precisely because I think it's like 30% of the world's population, 40% of the world's population is going to be voting. So obviously they want to influence that. And then on VT.com, Connor wrote a report. If you want to talk about the...
Did you know that all the biggest escort services in Davos are completely booked solid for the next 5 days?
Wow.
He's buying.
Are you surprised?
That's only because they don't want to be present alone and they want to look like they're dating.
This is the important thing.
people.
It's why escort services are able to function pretty much everywhere.
That's insane.
They're not selling the sex. They're just
Selling the
renting the
company.
girlfriend experience with the women who'll keep you company. And any sex that is had or not had in hotel rooms is a personal arrangement between them.
As a guy
and
who
their clients.
commented on our Instagram post for this article said, this just shows you the people in control of the world, what they're motivated by, what they're driven by, greed,
Wars.
material rewards.
Of course, it's I just love it. It's almost like the Council for Relations and the Bilderberg Group and all these people that get together and they make these massive decisions that change humanity's future, and we just nobody. By the way, the average person. This is not an average. We're unusual suspects for a reason, bro. The average American. Do you think? Be honest with me, David. The average American. If you picked out of 5 average Joes, none of them know who Klaus Schwab is or what the hell the WEF is.
I feel like the average person is just trying to survive.
That's how they strive. That's what they
have new people who come on board at Valuetainment and have no idea what the WEF is.
That I find shocking. When was it? The Bill Maher said, "What's the WEF?" to was it Roseanne Barr?
Oh yeah, he had no idea.
I think maybe he was feigning ignorance just for humor. I have trouble believing that anybody doesn't know who the WF or Klaus Schwab is now.
Yeah.
But just by the way, I had a good joke. The escort agencies, when Ghislaine Maxwell got arrested and Epstein died, they were like, yes, we get the market share back.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like Walmart just went out of business. Now the mom and pop shops.
That is so freaking funny.
No, but that's nuts, and it's to be expected. And it also just goes to show you, that's in plain view. What they do behind closed doors, one can only imagine.
Oh, dude, I saw, because I'm going to wrap this up, I saw a video of one of these females who made it out. This is her story. She made it out of one of these. It's crazy because Christy was mentioning Hunger Games earlier because she said her shirt looks like the girl from Hunger Games.
Welcome, tributes to the games.
I love it. It looks like a sheep, but you put like brownies, like dark raisins on them. But I love it.
Thank you.
It's flashy.
Thank you, darling.
What was I getting to?
Hunger Games.
Oh yeah. So this girl, now I got hungry because I haven't eaten lunch. This female who she's, getting interviewed, and she said these people, these rich people that we're talking about that can get away with anything, they would bring children, young kids into this place where nobody knew. They'd fly them in, not like they don't have a supply with the story that I'm going to get into. They would just be like, on your mark, it said go, and these kids would run for their lives, and they would hunt them. And hunt them, sexually abuse them, and then kill them. And she said she was one of the survivors that somebody got her out because they felt for her, and she left. And the video was taken down, but that's just weird. But anyway, all right, we're going to go to the second story. David, thank you for that video. I saw a glimpse of it last couple days ago, but I didn't get to see it, but I'm happy now I know, so I have some context. All right, my story. As you guys all know, last week, I didn't want to talk about this. We talked about it last week, but in regard to the music industry, David, you weren't here, but I wanted to talk. We talked about how evil it is, how the cabal worshiping demons, and how they take control of these artists. Because I said, if you're here, if you're Sony or whatever, you name the place, and you have God-given talent and you're down here, why would you think that I'm going to give you this platform without owning you? Because this is mine. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. You're going to get up here and be number one, and then you're going to trash us? No. I have to have dirt on you. The same as Epstein did with all these people and recordings and all that stuff. So I think they grab them. They grab the kids when they're young. They make them fall in love. Correct. Britney Spears, blah, 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 fall in love. And then they do the switch. They do the switcheroo. And we talked about it with Taylor Swift. Kids loved her. She said she's a witch. Billie Eilish. Kids adore her. Very, very talented. Guess what? The switch. All good girls go to hell.
I'm the bad guy.
I'm the bad. She's a demon in her videos. And then Lil Nas X. Our friendly gay rapper, this dude will not stop with the mocking of God, Jesus, and Christianity. And I'm telling you guys right now, if you're out there and your attitude is like, this is art, it's not art. Okay, he released a new single last week called J Christ. I'll let you guys figure out what the J stands for, where he and his people are disrespecting Jesus Christ the entire video. Kelly, can you show? And by the way, I want to say one thing to you guys before I do this. Imagine if this was about Muhammad and the Muslim religion. He wouldn't be, I'm telling you right now, he would be hiding for his life right now. But Christians are tolerant as shit. I'm not saying, what's up, Dave, before I show it.
Before you play this, not to sensitize to the copyright abuse on YouTube, just be...
We're not putting no audio. Can we show any video?
I think the algorithm probably goes after video and audio and text, so you might want to think about it. I mean,
so Kelly,
we got some still shots that we can play.
Kelly, would you be able to
promotional clips,
let's jump through. Like, for instance, this one, I don't know what. Okay, so show this for a second, Kelly.
And then it's ridiculous on YouTube.
Yeah, okay, he's eating. Okay,
this
pause that, Kelly.
To promote it.
So pause that for a second. He's eating and drinking the communion of,
like
he's mocking that he's taking communion.
You're supposed to treat it with
okay, Kelly, we can just jump, babe. We can jump. This is him. He's walking in a dress. He has sex on his neck, and he has in his hand rosary beads. Okay.
This is so.
And he has a cross. By the way, this isn't mocking Jesus or anything like that, right? By the way, Jesus. Apparently, Michael Jackson's in heaven.
Virgin Mary.
And then, by the way, I love it. This one. Okay, so there's a bunch of these videos, and David, I appreciate for you saying this. There's him on the cross. He's singing. It's blasphemous. That's exactly what it is. And then he makes this video, and I had Kelly speed it up because it's a little bit long. This is him apologizing. By the way,
he apologized.
Apologized.
You tell me, David, if this is no. Listen to the apology, not apology at the beginning. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to not necessarily apologize, but I wanted to explain where my head at and where it's been for the last week. So first of all, when I did the artwork, I knew there would be some upset people or whatnot, simply because religion is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people.
Why is he wearing that? He doesn't have a lot of.
But I also didn't mean to mock. This wasn't like a fuck you to you people, fuck you to the Christians. It wasn't.
Yes, it was.
It was not that.
Yes, it was.
It was literally me saying, "Oh, I'm back like Jesus." That was.
Oh yeah, you're back like
the first person.
Sex. Yeah. Listen.
Artist, and I won't be the last. And I know, given my history with the Call Me by Your Name video, anything that I do related to religion can be seen as mockery. That just was not the case with this. And I will say though, with the communion video, with me eating the crackers and juice, I thought that video was going to be the video to lighten the mood, to take it down less serious or whatnot. I thought that was something that we all wanted to do as kids or whatnot, but I didn't understand.
No, by the way, I'm a Christian. I never thought that.
you know, the reality of what it is. You know, it's me eating the communion, which is like the symbolism of like Jesus' blood and
That's not how you're supposed to do it. You're not supposed to gobble it up.
But
I
did not mean it as like a cannibalism thing or whatever the freak.
Well, it's for like if you got like a shower, you're getting a perm or something you put on your hair. But like, Cal, you can pause.
That was overboard.
So my point, and I want to know your guys' opinions before we go to my main story. But like when you see something like that, I'm literally gonna go around. What, Connor? He's already done it. He tried to have sneakers with human blood in them, 666 with Luke on it. What, like, do you believe this apology? But you still think that he's doing this because he's in this group and he has to bow down to these demons?
Well, honestly, I don't think Lil Nas X is smart enough to do this deliberately to be offensive, even though it's low-hanging fruit to dunk on Christians because everybody knows you can get away with it. Like you said, if he does a Mohammed video, he's dead within an afternoon, probably. But it's not even that he's trying to be. It's that this is just what the culture says is, oh, you want to be edgy and offensive? Still go after the Christians, because everybody is still stuck in like the 80s when, you know, snobby church ladies were public enemy number one. So, oh, you really want to be edgy and offensive? Go after conservatives, go after Christians, just like we saw with Green Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What do you think, David?
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not sensitive to this type of. I'm not sensitive in that I take offense to it. It's stupid. It's cliched. There's nothing new about it.
Yep.
And okay, great. So you think you're on par with God because of how good your music is, or how it just shows poor judgment. Like you'd expect a kid to do something that stupid, that superficial, that
ignorant.
It's what's original about it? It's not even original.
Nothing.
There was was it Winthorpe? There's a famous artist who, you know, for criticism, I think he stuck a flag up his butt. And it was one of the photographs. Like he did all these terrible things. I was like, all right, it's not creative. It's not original. You're just showing that you're a moral degenerate.
Yeah.
And good for you. And you don't want to apologize. That thing on his head, I think it was for baking bread. You know, like when you put it up.
I'm pretty sure he was trying to get his hair nice.
But it's just a question of looking for relevance, looking for attention. I don't take offense to that. I can understand that religious people would, but I just think it's stupid. Putting blood in the shoes. I remember covering that at the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, okay, good. You want to be edgy. That's not edgy. That's not relevant. That's not insightful. It's just dumb.
Well, you remember like 30 years ago, there was a public art installation called Piss Christ, where people took a crucifix and put it in a jar of urine.
Yeah, that's
okay. Well, it's offensive. It's rude, but like.
And I know where you're going to go with this, but I'm telling you right now, if you want to talk about karma and negative stuff, I'm just telling you right now, as a Christian, that shit is going to come back to bite him in the ass. What do you think?
Like when I see this, where I go instantly is, okay, so it's just art and we shouldn't be offended by it. So can I make a long 2-hour, extremely well done movie about Sodom and Gomorrah? Would the LGBT community freak out? And they would say, oh, this isn't art, this is political, this is a political statement. Oh, but that's not political.
Yeah, oh, they go nuts on you.
He's political. Like they always say, the left tries to be like, well, when the right makes art, that's just politics, that's just ideology. But when we make art, it's it's just for the art itself.
I agree.
Everything they do is political. They introduced the concept of political art.
100%.
And people, who made traditionalist movies, all those movies now are completely canceled. Like, Gone with the Wind, it was a historical movie, but they want to completely remove it because it has depictions of slavery in it.
And I do think that this is, say what you're going to say, because I want to say mine, because I want to go to the main story.
I was just going to say, like, do we even know any of his music? Is he going to be remembered for any of his music?
He's the Old Town Road.
After Old Town Road, he was supposed to be a one-hit wonder like so many of these artists today. But because they get signed to these record labels, now they are just a product and they try to keep them relevant. So controversy is like a huge thing. So every time we hear of Lil Nas X or whatever this guy's name is, it's not his music. It's the controversy in his music videos. And that's how he stays relevant and that's how he stays
I agree.
buying tickets. That's literally almost all the artists nowadays that have absolutely no talent. They keep them relevant and they keep them as money machines by keeping it controversial like this. There's nothing new about this. They do it with artists that can't sing, dance, and really become the artists that they're supposed to be. So they just like layer it with controversy, these kinds of like topics, these radical, crazy music videos. So people talk about it.
I definitely do think too, though, like if you really think about it, and you made a good point where you're like, that's not really, it's his music, or I don't like, by the way, the visual and everything that you see in there, that's not him doing the design.
Oh no, that's his entire
director,
team.
There's a producer. But like, think about this. What's the Sony? I don't know where the music is coming out of. The heads of Sony, think about, or wherever, I keep saying Sony, whatever label he's with, they had to sit in a room collectively, put this shit on and listen to this and watch it. Everybody in that room went, that's going to be a hit.
There was a whole creative.
And I think it's mockery, bro, and I think it's blasphemous. And I'm telling you right now, I've been practicing going to church, praying, trying to be a better person and Christian. That right there is really. I couldn't watch the whole thing because it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, and I don't think it's by accident. I do think it's to
on
get the
purpose,
eyeballs,
100%.
but the people behind it. I think personally, there's something deeper because guess what? Getting God, getting Christian, getting love out of the world is exactly what they were doing. This is just one more thing where younger kids are seeing this, going, "Oh, Jesus," and
it's a culture of death. It's a culture of death.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to know who the decision makers were, and you've inspired me to go look into that afterwards.
Yeah.
And what you said before, I'm not particularly religious, I don't think, but spiritual enough to say, if I were Lil Nas, I wouldn't be going golfing in storms anytime soon, because I would expect, there is karma, and I would expect something bad to happen with people who do such terrible things.
And I do. And I got to wrap it up. So make it quick.
For those of us who are actually ascribed to a religion, we just call that divine judgment.
Right.
It's not karma. It's just things that deliberately happen.
Yeah.
But bear in mind, this is the same Lil Nas X who, like we said, made Old Town Road, who did a concert live on Roblox. This guy went out of his way to cultivate an audience of children.
Yeah.
That's how he got popular.
And now?
Was with middle schoolers.
And now what are they watching?
He mentioned his video, Call Me By Your Name. That's the one where he twerks and gives a lap dance to Satan.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this is who this guy is now.
Yeah.
He made an audience of children and is now selling them Satanism.
And now they're following him because without God or Jesus in your life or whatever your religion is, you can do no wrong because you are God.
They idolize them. Yeah.
Exactly. So guys, next story. That was for Humberto. The southern border. I call it an invasion. It's been an invasion. God, by the way, shout out to Kelly with these girls. She's so freaking good at what she does. I'm at my wit's end. I know I've talked about this before on the show, but I'm beyond furious that nothing is being done, and the lack of anger, the lack of coverage, the lack of from both sides. I think there's minimal people. I'm going to get to who actually is the biggest voice, and I'll get to that. But we have seen, and Kelly, can you show the chart? This is the illegal immigrant encounters. Okay, look at that chart.
Wow.
Okay, look at that chart.
What does an encounter mean if I...
Like, meaning illegals are trying to come to the border and they have to deal with them at the border.
Okay.
Border patrol, apprehending.
And by the way, I think entered illegally, just willy-nilly get your ass in here, is about 4 million at this point.
Yes.
4 million people that have broken the law, David, that are here. Shane, you guys, fill me out. I'm sick and tired. I'm done with hearing the left, with AOC's ignorant ass. Remember the photos at the
empty parking lot?
The parking lot. They don't give a shit. This whole Trump built these cages. They were built under Obama. Let's be real. They don't care. This humanitarian lie that they care about, dude, it's immigrants. We're loving it. They always reference the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. Bullshit.
You know what I learned real quick? Through the entirety of the Ellis Island period of America, 1890 to 1950, how many immigrants do you think went through Ellis Island?
Say the dates.
1890 to 1950, 60 years.
Okay.
60 years. If I had to guess.
Oh my gosh, how many?
I want to be the smart guy.
Well, you are.
12 million.
You're right.
What?
How did you get that?
David,
You are the smart guy. I swear to you, I did. I'm just saying what would be weird because I'm looking at population growth in my head from that point.
David, it's your socks.
It's the socks.
It's your
Shout out to your
socks.
daughter.
Oh, yeah, baby. Bastard.
Shout out to your daughter.
But David, explain this then. So 12 million in 60 years, and then 4 million under Biden alone. So 3 years. Think about that.
Let me steel man the opposing argument. They're going to say 12 million of the population at the time compared to 4 million of the population at this time.
But
so
it's the same world. It's the same world with the same amount of resources, same size country. So those huge numbers have a huge impact no matter what.
We all know liberals don't understand per capita, but we're not talking about per capita. It's just the same number of people.
Yeah.
One person is one person.
They still
a
count
million
as
people is a
yeah.
million people.
It's also not just that. Like you say, the liberals pretend that it's a humanitarian.
They do.
It's like Chrystia Freeland hiding behind the victim. It's a cynical political ploy. They know damn well what they're doing. They want the illegal immigrants in so they can fast track them to citizenship, knowing that in a generation or 4 or 5 years they're going to vote Democrat.
Beautiful.
Right.
They're kids.
It's a political investment that they hide behind humanitarianism because I won't say liberals only or Democrats.
Yeah.
They're very good at exploiting the victims for their political profit.
I agree.
When Trump came out and said they're not sending their best and criminals, yada, yada, people don't seem to understand this either. Choking on my tongue here. Criminal or not, although by definition, when you break the laws to get into a country, you're a criminal, whether or not they're overt criminals fleeing another country, what do you think happens when people come here, can't work legally, have trouble making ends meet or even getting money? What happens, even if they weren't set aside the breaking of the law to get into a country?
Yeah.
What ends up happening when you can't make ends meet as a law-abiding illegal immigrant?
The system. You use the system, or you become a crazy person on the street that stabs us. And dude, it's so horrible. Or they get into a car. They don't have a driver's license. They crash into people like my cousin in the back of his car. Thank God his family wasn't in there. But I'm sick and tired of this humanitarian aspect that they do. And by the way, 4 million illegals entered, average, and the amount of children that have gone missing. And I'm going to say this. Gone missing, not dead, not bones found somewhere or a mass grave, missing. Do you know what the number is? So far, hold on, that they've tracked. Anybody?
In what time frame? Last year? Or
like this past three years.
See if you could get 2.
So,
go ahead.
I mean, I'm just going to say that when I was reporting this back, I think last May or June.
Where were we at?
We were at 80,000 children.
Okay, I have 85,000. The real
I don't believe that.
I think it's in the I think it's over 100,000. But there's only one person. And again, David, I'm at the point, guys, where I don't believe in left. I don't believe in right. I believe in the uniparty that we talk about. Brandon talks about this a lot. It's them against us. Period. But once in a while, a voice comes up, and David, you hear how I speak, bro. I see you on your podcast. Shout out to give yourself a
Viva Fry.
Viva Fry.
Where'd that come from?
He has an amazing podcast. But I see you speak with conviction. You speak from your heart. There's one guy, and he gets angry, and he's really pissed off about the problem, and it's Chip Roy. He's a congressman from Texas, and I want to show you. Kelly, can you play this clip of Chip Roy, please? He's yelling at the Democrats about missing children.
System
Look at this.
Has 85,000 kids they can't find. What in the world? It's the New York Times. It's not Fox News. And we're sitting here talking about a fiction of saying there's an infant rolling through somewhere outside of Eagle Pass right now, begging to claim asylum. The infant is not doing that.
Look.
This is absurd.
Nobody,
you know it's absurd.
They're quiet. Listen. Listen to this.
We have language here put forward in good faith, trying to figure out how to stop what I see in this chart behind me, where unaccompanied children are spiking through the roof, have been doing so since Democrats have been in charge of the administration. The only blip is when you had a Republican in charge. You had kids on top of train cars getting abused by cartels. You got numbers spiking through the roof since President Biden has been in office. And all we want to simply do is say, we want to get them home to their families. We want to get them to the place where they can go to a port of entry so we can take care of them.
Bullshit.
And we're being treated by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle with where are the 1,000 that aren't being reunified? Well, go find the 85,000 that we don't even know where the hell they are under the Biden administration.
I love that guy.
Or yield back.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to wait for the silence. Or you just don't incentivize illegal human trafficking. It's, you know what percentage of the women who engage in this, girls and women that cross illegally get sexually assaulted?
How many?
I think it was upwards of 80%.
I thought it was going to say 75%.
When they go, from what I understand, and I reserve the right to be wrong, when they go through these countries in the convoys, getting up to the southern border, they give them condoms.
I know.
I mean, it's beyond disgusting. And humanitarian, they say, oh, they're just fleeing for a better life.
They're trying to get to their family, which, guys, it's bullshit. And I'm tired of pretending. And it's like, bro, like, you ever feel like, I feel like suffocating because it's like, nobody's doing anything about it. Like, you can't even, they have cops at the border, like law enforcement that are doing the same thing with you, getting in reporters' faces that are trying to report this. This next video I'm gonna show you guys. And Kel, you spread this one up, my love. Guys, this is videos of these smugglers that are going to explain to me why you would drug a kid, sedate this kid to come over to the border. Oh, to see his mom and dad? Is that what you're going to believe out there? Is that what you're going to try to bullshit me? It's not going to happen. Look at this. Bothered me so much. This got me really, really pissed off yesterday. This is this guy coming over the border, and obviously these kids are going to get trafficked for God knows what. Kelly, can you show it? Look at these kids on drugs. Look. Look at them. They're not dead. Light in their face.
Those are not their parents.
Those are not their parents.
No.
Look at that guilty face. Listen.
So, remember I told you guys that they're going to say that? Yep. ¿Qué le pasó a la mamá? ¿Te abandonó? ¿Y te dejó a los dos niños?
Look.
Okay. ¿Y cuántos años tienen los niños?
Look at him. Slap
3 years
him.
old.
She's
He
out.
says that his wife abandoned him and she left him the 2 kids.
No,
It's great to see
That's not
them
how a
down.
father-
Yeah.
There's a lot of heartbreaks going on.
Look at this shit.
Unfortunately, some of these children look like this isn't just a natural sleep. They are out.
No, you look, they're sedated. They're sedated. Look at them.
This is not.
Look at
Look
like
at this. I want everybody that's watching it, keep watching this shit and wake up.
So this is what we're telling you.
You keep watching CNN and families are struggling. These kids are gonna go missing.
Their pupils don't even react to
They're gonna get fucking sexually abused. And who knows? And then, but Kelly, pause this. Pause this, please. And then, that drives me crazy. That drives me nuts. They're gonna disappear. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. One guy in Congress is yelling and talking shit, and the left is just no. They care about the people. They don't care about the people. Those kids are probably dead because they got into this country and they're gone. End of story. 85,000 is the minimal number that she reported on over a year ago.
You want it to get even worse? I mean, you read the news. It's not just that the federal government doesn't do anything. They're suing Texas to prevent Texas from enforcing immigration laws and expelling illegal immigrants and protecting their own border. They're actively suing, seeking injunctions to ensure that Texas doesn't do what they argue in the suit is of their federal exclusive jurisdiction. So they say Texas can't do it because it's our federal jurisdiction and exclusive jurisdiction. And we're not doing anything, above and beyond not doing anything, we're basically green lighting this and giving the wink, wink, nudge, nudge, come cross the border because we ain't going to stop.
Oh, is that I don't get it. Like, when you see something like that,
No,
great point,
I got really emotional. I mean, I would think that they're trying to do that. I think they're just trying to get power for like Texas so that the left side can have power for like the next. I think Pat talked about in his video recently where like they'll have power for the next couple of decades if they get the state of Texas.
It's votes, Chrissy. It's votes. Babe, and check this out. It's votes, but when I see that specifically,
that breaks my heart.
I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
What are they going to do with those kids? That guy's not delivering them to their illegal parents that were here.
They don't even know their names. Those
they
guys
don't know
that are
their
taking
names,
care of
and
them,
you're never going to.
Yeah.
And then, when people like us say shit like these cabal, devil-worshipping assholes that we keep hearing these rumors about them having kids or sacrificing kids or sexually abusing them or shipping them to some island where some guy named Jeffrey Epstein is over there sharing these people who fucking disappear. Right. Nobody says anything. If you're out there, you're one of these leftists that it's like, oh, we care about that. You don't give a shit. All you do is talk. All they do is talk. And dude, enough is enough. How many more have to go missing till something changes? Like what the hell is going on? Who are we lying to? And then you hear somebody like, this is my favorite. If you ask Democrats, like Jerry Nadler, you know that little penguin body looking asshole. Sorry guys, I'm cussing a lot today.
He does look like the penguin.
He was in the penguin. By the way, maybe Kelly can find it after this. There's a photo of him. Oh, Kelly, do you want to show the well, let me show you guys one thing, and then we'll show Jerry Nadler. Show this. So this is, by the way, you want to talk about a border? You guys want to talk about a secure border? Look at Egypt's border to Gaza. Show this video, Kelly.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, look at this fortress.
But remember, guys, Palestinians are peaceful and they should be relocated elsewhere so that they can integrate.
This is how Egypt treats their fellow Muslims.
Yeah.
Right?
This is, dude, look at this thing.
Wow.
Look at this thing, bro. Are you trying to get over that thing?
They built the wall.
Yeah, and then Kelly, great point. I'm going to read this. So, this is how Egypt secures its border. They have these huge parallel border walls. One is made of concrete that's 20 feet high. The other is stone. Barbed wire reinforcement. Wow. Bomb-proof steel barrier extends underground by 60 feet below. Wow. Military patrol, not civilian, not these loser border patrols that are probably getting paid to sex traffic these freaking kids. Surveillance of the area. There's one checkpoint, to get into Egypt, and it's heavily guarded. Cameras, sensors, advanced technology, monitoring the border, and patrolling in the Mediterranean Sea. Guys, they don't mess around to prevent smuggling by the sea. And then Kelly has a couple of charts. Kelly, can you show the video? I'm sorry, just those. Look at that. Look at the border. Look at that, bro. You think you're gonna sprint over that thing?
I thought walls don't work.
No, they don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, go to the. Look at that. Look how small these people are. You know what those two people are thinking? There's no way. There's no way. Go to the next one, Cal. And then look at that. Perimeter wall, tunnel, barrier, boom. Bomb-proof. You are not getting through.
I can't believe that they used border security as like racism. I can't believe that they
Does that make Egypt racist? I mean,
hold on.
Islamophobic.
Do you really not believe it?
It's so ridiculous that people fell for that BS.
Who was it recently? Was it Durbin who recently said, they're going to talk about allowing illegals to join the military?
Oh my
What a
God.
great idea.
I did a whole story on that.
No cultural assimilation.
Yeah, you were here.
Yeah, and it's like, then you realize they're like, political profit, and they get to secure their own private army because you have illegal immigrants who are police and military. They're going to be loyal only to the government officials that let them in and not to the country that they are illegally in.
1,000%.
I made the ancient Rome comparison when I talked about that a little while ago. You have guys who have personal armies, you train migrants how to use weapons, you make them loyal to you, and then as soon as you decide it's time for you to be the one in power, you just march your army into the Capitol. And congratulations.
And the elites, listen, this is all by design. This is not accident. This is not by an accident. And I hope you people out there wake up and start getting pissed off. Last thing, because I want to move on to the next story. Going back to Jerry Nadler, I'm sorry I jumped the gun. Mr. Penguin Man, I think he was a bad guy in one of the Batmans. If you ask them how they feel about illegals, listen what he's saying on the Congress. He's saying this in Congress. Good.
We need immigrants in this country.
We need illegals.
Forget the fact that our vegetables would rot in the ground if they weren't being picked by many immigrants, many illegal immigrants. The fact is that the birth rate in this country is way below replacement level, which means our population is going to start shrinking.
Look at the guy in the back.
And the ratio of people on Social Security and Medicare is going to increase relative to the number of people supporting them.
No one wants to reproduce with him.
What do we call this theory of a great replacement?
That's a weird theory.
There are two things that are. First of all, I loathe Jerry Nadler.
You and me both.
Oh my gosh.
Disgusting human being through and through.
Kelly, can you show him with his weird body? If you have a photo, look it up.
But you appreciate what he just says. Like, on the one hand,
body shot.
When was it Kelly Osmond who was on the show? He's like, Mr. Trump, if you expel immigrants, who's going to wash your toilet?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
What did he just say?
Like, oh wait, no.
It went from who's going to pick your fill in the blank to who's going to pick your fill in the blank.
Exactly.
I mean, it's modern day slavery promoted by the Democrats. They use it as a tool for cheap labor, and then the population's not growing fast enough. Hey, maybe stop promoting abortion left, right, and center.
And taxing and overtaxing everyone, making life so impossible to afford. I mean, the reason why the populace of America can't work those jobs is because it's so damn expensive to live life legally here.
You've heard the jokes about, like, you go to a restaurant and when your burger's like $27, like white people obviously harvested the tomato that's on it. You have to pay to afford, because you can pay illegal immigrants slave wages or basically just make them work for free.
The other argument, which I'm not an economist, it doesn't make sense. They talk about Social Security. Well, who's going to pay into the fund? You're bringing over people who are not necessarily even going to be at the market level of paying into it, but taking out of it. Canada's doing the same thing. We don't have people supporting the system. The people you're letting in, and it sounds terrible to say, but having competence-based immigration, it's good for the country and it's good for the immigrants. Doing what they're doing now is what they know it is. It's just allowing modern-day slavery. You get them in and you exploit them for all they're worth so that they can pick your vegetables, but you don't want to call it something more offensive.
And the other problem with the modern immigration system, it's not just in the United States, it's around the world. When migrants come, whether illegally or legally, every dime they make typically gets sent home. Like, people will leave, Asian and African and South American countries, come to the West, and they get jobs. And whether they came legally or not, they are funding their families at home by
Cubans and
shipping
Venezuelans in Miami are doing the same exact thing.
That's not stimulating the American economy.
It's not,
Kelly, what are you showing?
Penguin.
Are we going to show anything?
I was just going to say, DeSantis had a good idea, actually. He said the way he would pay for his wall is by taxing that money.
Yeah. Taxing
the money that's getting sent out of the country, remittances for the wall, because they're causing the problem.
Yeah, but then you realize the problem is you end up giving the federal government or the state more power because they've caused a problem. So, hey, we've caused a problem, and now we're going to create more regulation to govern your microtransactions. I mean, it's just giving them more power to deal with their own
and Kelly, show this chart really fast. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this chart, right? This is this is the amount of people that are. What is this chart, Kelly? American births versus illegal. There's more illegal immigrants than American
outpacing American birth rates.
They're outpacing.
And so what you're going to see is Like basically, America can't reproduce itself.
Jeez.
And when that happens, you're not going to have the same America in 20 years. It's going to be the same problems that plague all these other countries are going to be imported here because no cultural assimilation is occurring. You're not actually having people become Americans as immigration used to. You're instead just having waves and waves of people from war-torn countries where there's political extremism, and all those problems are just going to come right here.
And it's not just Jerry Nadler. Last year, we saw Chuck Schumer say it, where the Americans aren't reproducing fast enough, we need immigrants. Nancy Pelosi, just a few months before that, said, why are you shipping all these immigrants up north? We need them down south to pick the crops.
Wow.
Like
they're shameless.
They are shameless. They will tell you to your face what they are doing.
They have to.
In Canada, unless I've gotten the statistic wrong, where they're talking about record population growth, 97% driven by immigration. So it's an amazing thing. It's almost like it's a plan. Hey, go get abortions. Let's promote abortions. Let's extend the time frame that you can get abortions. In Canada, let's promote euthanasia left, right, and center. Let's lower the age, expand
Kill
it.
everybody.
Oh, look at that. Population's not growing. Let's open our borders to people who we know. At least if they came in legally, at least there'd be some vetting. In America, it's just, well, we need this illegal. It's almost like the problem becomes the solution.
Is that crazy?
You guys have seen Braveheart, right?
Of course.
You're familiar with the movie? Remember that scene with King Edward?
We can't weed them out.
If we can't get them out, we'll breed them out. And that's exactly what they're doing.
You know, the problem with Scotland is there's too many Scots.
It's full of Scots.
Okay, all right, guys, I got to move on. That was a great slap, by the way. All right, and Christy's going to piggyback. Christy, sanctuary cities. So once these people get here, talk to me. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, we need to talk a little bit more about this because I feel like this is the biggest political concern out of all the other issues that we already have.
Elon tweets, I think 80% of it is about the border and sanctuary cities.
So
FYI.
I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a recap of what's been happening just last week as a result of these illegal immigrants coming into our country. But first, I wanted to start with a video that happened over the weekend, if not last week, from Massachusetts.
What is it? Oh, you're in the show. Okay, let's see it. Can't hear it. Can't hear it. Go back.
Here's what
we have Massachusetts officials pretty much asking for their citizens to help house the illegals in their businesses, in their churches, in their homes, to be a good citizen and to like really think about bringing illegals into their spaces.
They ran out of five-star resorts to let them stay
in your home. Please consider hosting a family. Safe housing and shelter is our most pressing need. Become a sponsor family. You can contact the Brazilian Worker Center for more information on how you can step up if you're willing to have an additional family be part of your family. If you're a local official, a college president, a business owner, or a faith leader with an available building or space in your community, please work with us to offer it as a shelter site. If you're a social service provider, please consider becoming an emergency assistance homeless shelter provider. Our resources are stretched thin there as well. And if you're a hotel or a motel owner, consider opening it up for emergency assistance. If you're a landlord or a property owner.
No, you can stop it. Go ahead.
What's so amazing?
I wanted to add this little part at the end that she says that she pretty much says like if you're a landlord or a business owner, we can use you too. Open up your places so that we can permanently house. She said permanently house these illegals. We can use you too. Like,
Christy, nothing makes me like. Listen to me. You gotta help. I think of a family with young women, daughters. Let some guy that just came here from Venezuela that he doesn't have a place to stay.
We just need them to live
You're heartless and you're racist. He should come in and hang out with your daughters. Hang out with your wife.
Right. Also, it starts as an ask and then it becomes a demand. Much
You're
like
damn right.
when the government takes away certain rights, when it's time to give them back, they become privileges. So we took what was your God-given right away, and you want it back. Well, now it's a privilege. Do what you need to do to get that privilege back.
Weird.
This is like, hey, maybe think about it. And then it becomes, no, you're going to do it, and we're going to remunerate you. And then it's going to be, you're going to do it, and that's how you nationalize things, step by step by step.
And colonists, you guys need to allow these British soldiers to sleep in your house.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to quarter the army
Trust
there.
me, it'll be fine.
Yeah, well, what did we just talk about? They want to recruit illegal immigrants into the military to offset, the massive recruitment failure.
Was that the Fifth Amendment?
Yeah, their new army will live in your house.
I mean,
they're going to violate the amendment of the Constitution.
Let's continue with them invading more spaces. So this happened last week, in case it seeped through the cracks for some people, where in New York, in Flatbush, Brooklyn, there was a school that was closed down for students for a night in James Madison High School because they needed to house 2,000 illegal immigrants. Go ahead, Kelly.
How does it feel that you kicked all the kids out of school tomorrow? How does it feel? You feel good? I hope you feel good. I hope you all sleep really well tonight. I'm an agitated mother, that's why.
We need that lady on the show.
Oh my God, so they're just busting illegals
And
to
they
come
don't
stay
want her recording.
Unbelievable.
Of course they don't.
Oh, this is the one with, they shut down the schools because illegals
They didn't
was
shut
too
down the
cold.
schools. They
made them go online.
They made them go online so they could use the dorms.
How long are you staying?
To
she
provide a
says?
little context for that, there was a blizzard about to hit.
Yeah, but guess what?
The Air Force Base.
My kid is not missing school for anybody.
There's a blizzard.
Illegal
kicker to this, and I'm not even sure that.
What's crazy is that certain publications were even saying, hey guys, it wasn't like that school was shut down. They're doing remote learning.
Oh, yeah, 'cause that
And on
works.
top of that, we only left them there for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt that if the parents were not causing outrage, they would have kept them there longer throughout the entire storm.
Charlie Kirk put out an Instagram post, and it said it didn't even say that they shut the schools down. It just said, "Look what's happening here," and
He's racist?
killing the door.
Let me guess.
No. I'm looking at this and I get a warning that says this post contains disinformation.
Shut up.
So I go click on it. I see the post. It did not say school shut down. It just said it was innocuous description. The fact check said schools weren't shut down. And I tweeted it out to Charlie and he replied. He's like, dude, look at this. They're fact checking and saying you said something that you never even said in the post.
Wow.
What a great fact check.
Yeah, not only that, there's another video, and I'm just gonna go through these so
Go
we can
for it.
see the consequences.
Keep showing
in
them.
each
Yeah,
city.
we'll shut up and
I don't
you
know
go.
if you've ever been there, the Roosevelt Hotel in New
Of course
York.
I have.
It's beautiful.
It's
It's on
gorgeous.
45th Street. So they had a guy who snuck in on the other side where they covered the immigrants there.
Yeah.
And he got this video. We have it a little sped up so we can keep up. But
I love
listen,
them like
watch
that.
the subtitles, listen
Okay.
to who he's talking to. This is crazy.
It's the backside
Go
of the
ahead, Kel.
hotel. Oh, a lot of young kids, huh? Nope.
No.
All
Very risky. Don't try it.
all
Now
got
look where
cell
they're
phones.
from. Look where they're from.
It's the Roosevelt Hotel, right? Roosevelt Hotel, right? Yes, Roosevelt. Are you from Senegal? Senegal?
Senegal.
25 years old, 30 years old.
No women.
Africa, New Guinea. Yeah, where are the women at? Where are the children at?
There's South Africans there.
Forget it. Someone tweeted or put the tweet. It's like when you are, what was it? When you're saving your family, you take them with you.
Yeah, when you're running from war, you take your stuff and your
And
wife
your
and your
family.
kids.
And when you're running
going to
towards
war,
war,
you leave all that at home.
Look at this. Hey, can I ask you a question real quick?
Are you from Senegal? Oh, okay. Where are you from? Guinea. Oh, okay. And
Look at them dressed nice. They're coming. They're chilling.
Got AirPods.
It really makes you wonder, how's a guy from Senegal get here?
Yeah.
How's a guy from Africa
Bro, I mean,
cross
think
the
about
Atlantic
it.
Ocean?
All you have to do is get to the border.
Did you travel over border? Over wall? Border? Mexico?
He's pretending he
You
doesn't.
came over Mexico. Okay. Did you?
this guy's got
Went through Mexico.
cojones to do this.
Yeah,
So then security starts to see that he's recording, so he leaves a little bit more to continue trying asking questions.
Okay.
What's crazy to me is that nobody wants them to be recording. We have a right to record wherever we
On
are.
public space, I'm
on
recording
public
everywhere.
spaces, and he was trying to talk to them. Yeah, we can stop
Security.
it there, Kelly.
That's fine, Kelly.
So that's
Are
in
they
New
checking
York. That-
vaccination status? I think they're still for permanent resident application. I think they're asking for
No,
full
for vaccination.
I don't even think that they're asking them for that. But Mayor Eric Adams is actually planning on spending $12 billion of our tax
$12
dollars
billion.
for the immigrant problem in New York. He's been going to Washington, D.C. multiple times asking for more federal funds that keep getting denied. But yeah, there's obviously a huge problem in New York City. We both love New York very much.
They're cutting all these social programs to pay for it, cutting libraries, cutting emergency
And that's
services.
the Democrat response, too,
Yeah.
because they don't want the flow of immigrants to stop. They just want more money to deal with it.
Right.
Every time, because we've seen it, New York, Chicago, Denver, basically every major sanctuary city in the country, they've come out and they've said, give us more money and stop
Exactly.
Texas from sending them to us.
So let's look at California now. This isn't San Francisco. This is Los Angeles.
This is Cali?
Yes.
Okay. It's my old apartment. Shit on the street.
What is that?
Human feces on the street.
Human feces.
This is San Francisco.
No.
Where's this?
What?
Oh my God. You said my old neighborhood?
Thought it was San Francisco, I'm sure. I'm almost sure that you guys thought it was San Francisco. But no, this is L.A.
Jeez.
L.A. to the Bay. Gavin Newsom has his hands full. I mean, this is crazy. They need to clean up some of this homelessness problem and this drug addiction problem. It is out of control. I mean, they just have blocks and blocks of these tent shanties towns.
Oh my
Yeah, homeless population in LA, I think, is 130,000. Someone can fact check me.
It's crazy. And then not only that, but they have this new thing called Medi-Cal, which is a primary healthcare system that they're going to give to illegal immigrants from the ages of 26 to 49. They're going to get proper healthcare for free. And that's a huge age bracket too, 26 to 49. And on top of that, our tax dollars are going to help them pay if they want gender affirming surgeries, hormone therapies, those kinds of things. So, I mean, that's another form of sterilization as well, but they will be getting those kinds of benefits as well, and we're going to be paying for them. And then our final one, let's go to the next video, Kelly. We'll speed it up a little bit. We're going to go to Chicago. So obviously we know that in O'Hare Airport, we've had immigrants living there for months, and they've stayed there, but now they had buses outside of the airport where they were sleeping. More illegal immigrants were sleeping. They're turning a CVS into another shelter in Little Village.
A CVS
a
gone?
CVS.
Well, there's nothing left in it,
CVS.
so it doesn't really
Exactly,
matter.
Yeah, no
they stole
shit.
everything.
They stole everything.
So this is a video in the airport of them. They have black drapes that are covering the side where you can fly out of, and then the immigrants live on the other side. So if you want to show that.
You know, note the drapes and the barricades and everything because they don't want you to see this.
You have to protect your votes. You have to protect your voters. Dude, look at what people will do for power. To stay in power, bro. They'll let
And
this
the guy
bitch
there,
burn.
the guy there said, no recording.
It's an airport.
And he's like, it's an airport, dude.
Yeah, I'd slap that guy. Get out of my face.
Not for nothing, but the crazy eco-friendly leftists who love to talk about pollution and everything are totally okay with migrants trashing every place they live.
Well, they're recycling tire material right now.
Oh,
They
okay.
build those drapes.
I see.
So all of this to ask,
Unreal.
like, it's so, like, if people can talk the talk, but like when it comes to your backyard, when your cities are huge cities that we love very much, I'm sure, are getting affected this badly, like when will people say, you know what, I'm going to choose quality of life and vote accordingly over a political party that maybe my entire family has been voting for? Like, when are people going to wake up and be like, you know what, maybe I should put the ego of political parties aside and see what's working and what's not? These are our backyards, and they're getting destroyed. Like, I lived in New York for 7 years, and like even just the thought of going back because of this problem, like, it's just non-existent to me. On top of like not being able to have other rights to protect myself, like, when is enough going to be enough?
It's Bongino always asks that question. If you guys watch Dan Bongino,
I love him.
Is it bad enough yet?
Yeah.
Apparently no.
How
Is it
much
bad
more
enough
do
yet?
you need?
The problem is it gets to a point where the problem becomes unremediable. It becomes unsolvable. You're like, how do you deport, let's just say hypothetically, 30 million people? I mean, how do you even start doing that?
Yeah.
You create a crisis that cannot be resolved, and so the only other thing to do after that is do something which is going to make it even worse, which is what they're looking like. Well, we can't deport them all, so let's just fast track to citizenship now, and you've basically lost your country.
AOC came out a little while ago and was saying, you know, the best way to stop illegal immigration is to just legalize everybody. You know, very
Give
clear
them
pathway to
documentation.
citizenship. But here's the problem. That's a ridiculous and stupid immigration policy, I think we can all agree. You know who else had that immigration policy? Ronald Reagan. That was Reagan's immigration policy of the fastest way to clean it up is to just make everybody legal. So,
like what Vinny said, it is a very uniparty problem. I mean, we act like it's just Democrats now, but Bush was doing amnesty, and all the Republicans in Congress were against Trump's immigration agenda. Trump's biggest roadblocks in Congress when he was trying to fix immigration was the Chamber of Commerce, which is a business group, the Business Roundtable, and the Koch brothers. And the Koch brothers are libertarian. So you have, like you were saying, it's very lucrative to have cheap labor. The reason why we can't fix the immigration problem is because of Republicans who are, in the short term, making expedient alliances with Democrats for business interests. But in the long term, you're not going to have your corporations anymore because there's going to be no country to support them.
And just to point out, the Koch network gave a bunch of money and an endorsement to Nikki Haley. So
weird.
So you see,
I want to pronounce it cock because
it's cock.
That's more accurate.
Can you imagine the Orwellian stupidity of saying the solution to illegal immigration is to amnesty all of them? I mean, it's basically saying we have a murder rate problem, so let's legalize murder and drop the murder rate to 0%. I mean, anyone who says that it's not analogous, because obviously one violates the rights of another, first of all, wrong. The question here is, how do you minimize a crime? Legalize it. That's basically the solution from AOC.
Unbelievable.
It is, as we were saying in French, it's slowed down logic, as we say it.
Yeah.
C'est en retard.
It's called stupid.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. And because we have to go to Shane. I also saw. Remember the problem? When is it too bad?
Yeah.
Slowly now, these Democrat voters are coming out of their houses and getting in front of a camera and saying,
Correct.
"I can't sleep at night because these illegals are panhandling on my door,
On my
knocking,
door.
going, give me money,
Yeah.
give me money." And then listen. At what point, you were talking about, they're going to get restless, no jobs, no whatever. Then they're going to start coming into your house. And then it's going to be, then maybe they'll start barking more. We're going to go to the next story. Chrissy, good job. I'm never going to New York or California again.
No.
Shane.
That's so sad. You're from Yonkers.
I know, don't even start with me. I'm not going there or California. Everybody has to come here to visit me. Shane, next story.
Yes.
Who is high? What the hell are they on? Take us to trip. We're going to go on a trip into the spirit world.
All right.
All right, so we've
Tom
been
said.
talking a lot about demons, I feel, this whole podcast in various different forms.
There's
have
one
you
of
ever
them.
felt that that the wars in this world, that there's another dimension to all of this, that we're only seeing a glimpse of a wider spiritual battle that's going on?
Yeah.
I feel like that sometimes. You see this in the way that people act these days, where the hysteria is increasing more and more and more. It would be useful if there was proof of this idea that people can be possessed, right?
Yes.
So there actually, interestingly, is some evidence, and it comes from our friends in the psychedelic community.
Uh-oh.
So,
Which is more popular than ever now, by
yes,
the way.
it is.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm gonna get to that.
everybody's microdosing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So while everyone else, is dealing with all these border problems and the economy, the hippies have been discovering some entities while they've been on ayahuasca.
Whoa.
So if you don't know, ayahuasca is a plant-based drug. Its liquid form is how you ingest it. It is a vine and a leaf. The leaf has DMT in it. But unlike regular DMT, which you have to smoke, and it only lasts for about 20 minutes, the vine in the ayahuasca plant it blocks an enzyme in the gut that allows the DMT molecule to be fully absorbed straight to the bloodstream, and so it makes the trip last for 6 hours. But people say that it can feel like months.
Oh,
in this
God.
other reality.
I wouldn't want to do that.
So
I'm going to throw up right now.
Lots more people than you'd think.
So that's the joke. So you would think this drug was discovered possibly as early as 2000 BC by tribes in South America. The main country where people go to try this is Peru, but tribes from Brazil, Colombia, and Ecuador were practicing this, but they would treat it with reverence. They had a shaman. They knew that they were going into the spiritual world. Nowadays...
They're not going into a spiritual, they're going into a moment of actual insanity. They're going into clinical insanity.
Chemicals wrong in your brain.
I don't know.
They see on the other side of
I don't know.
the problem.
You gotta hear what they say. But so first, I just want to show a tweet from one user who made a very funny joke. Kelly, if you could pull that up.
Here you go.
So the thing is, these tribes use it, right? But recently, liberals and people from Silicon Valley, suburbanites who have no experience with this stuff, do it to get ideas for the new app they're going to make. So he says, ayahuasca is insane because it appears to be one of the most legitimately dangerous drugs with the potential to gigafry your brain, but is exclusively taken by liberal turbo normies who unironically want to heal internalized racist trauma and basically get one-shotted by it.
Oh, God.
What's one-shotted mean?
It's in a video game. You get hit with
Taken
one
out
bullet. It's just
instantly.
basically
One
getting
shot.
destroyed.
Okay.
Literally the most spiritually inept people in existence, having their little lib brains rearranged by some Mesoamerican six-dimensional demon who makes them quit their email job, divorce their boyfriend, girlfriend, and become a traveling circus stripper or whatever.
This is very specific.
So a 2015 survey of ayahuasca users found that 46% had encounters with superhuman or spiritual entities, and half had experiences of other universes and encounters with their inhabitants. A 2020 survey found that 11% of users had experiences of an autonomous entity they described as a demon, devil, or monster. 78% described entities as benevolent. 70% described them as sacred. 16% as negatively judgmental, 11% as malicious. 72% said the entities continued to exist after the encounter.
Oh, Jesus
That they were
Christ.
just following them around.
Oh, my God.
80% said the trip altered their fundamental conception of reality, and the amount of users who had previously identified as atheistic fell from 28% to just 10.
Wow.
A 2018 survey of 8,000 ayahuasca users found that 15% reported feeling energetically attacked or a harmful connection to the spiritual world.
What? I mean, I'm not.
Are you done, Shane? Are you done?
I've got some more.
Well, I want to hear. Go on, say this.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying this to be funny. Ask schizophrenics, ask people with manic bipolar disorder, ask people with temporary psychosis, and they'll answer the exact same things.
Yeah.
It's a momentary drug-induced form of schizophrenia, psychosis. It's not spiritual. And when I listen to Rogan talk about it, I'm like, dude. You're breaking your brain for a brief moment in time, and you just hope to God it goes back to normal afterwards.
You're rolling the dice with forever, bro. Forever. I know one guy that took. I saw this story. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. Kelly, did you see this guy? He was on like one of these A&E stories. He took one hit of ecstasy, and for the rest of his life, he always sees like a black bird just flying around. And his mom, and he's next to his mom getting interviewed, and she's like, yeah, and he's just like, whoa! He's like, one hit. And by the way, I know one guy that did this DMT, not the ayahuasca. He hit this DMT, and it ruined him because he said that it wasn't a black person, it was just this big black energy orb, and he would just put his arm around him, and it was trying to have sex with him in like this room, and he was like,
oh my God.
He goes, but to this day, he's ruined because this thing was trying to bring him into a party. It was all like energy, and it was like a club, and this thing was like, no, I'm gonna have sex with you inside this room, and it was just, he's not the same person
Have
anymore.
you seen the horror movie Talk to Me is what it is? It's about like they find a cryptic hand and you talk to the hand.
I haven't seen it.
It's nothing more than a metaphor for drugs or schizophrenia, but I've known people and won't get too far into it. You take the wrong pill once, you're
gone.
It'll trigger a psychotic episode that you will not heal from.
Yeah.
And DMT is like the most extreme. You got salvia, you got the other. You're messing around with a very finely tuned chemical organism in your brain. And you switch the wrong switch on, it might never go off.
It's also recommended.
Shane, I'll let you go. Let us end and go, Shane.
It's also recommended that people with bipolar disorder and like multiple personalities should not be taking it.
You think?
Yeah,
But
so it
people
makes
do
you
this
wonder.
for therapy.
Yeah, it makes you wonder like what would happen to them.
So David has the materialist view of reality, but I'm just going to continue just a little bit longer with the maybe more fun idealistic view or spiritual view of reality. So Graham Hancock, who's a frequent guest on Joe Rogan, he's a journalist that speaks a lot about anthropology. He's called, pseudo-intellectual, whatever. But he's more interesting than 99% of the professional academic intellectuals, so that's why people like to watch his stuff. He says that the shamans of Native American tribes use the drug to meet with entities whose messages they would interpret as signs from the gods or spirits. And so a lot of people who research this and ask users questions and go to these tribes and interview them, they all say that it's not just random shapes and meaningless just chaos and insanity. They always feel like they are being given a spiritual message or that something is being unveiled to them. And so the idea is that there's people do these substances and are looking for some kind of meaning. Ross Douthat of New York Times, he's a columnist, he's a Christian conservative. He doesn't like New Age stuff, he doesn't like hippies, whatever.
Yeah.
But he writes about trends in American spirituality because it interests him. He says that the interest in psychedelics corresponds with the decline of Christianity and a surging interest in discovering religion's supernatural grounding and fashioning a personal theology out of it. So I think as meaning begins to crumble, people want to find it again. And so you have celebrities like Machine Gun Kelly, Miley Cyrus,
I was literally
Will Smith,
watching Machine Gun Kelly yesterday.
Chelsea Handler, and Prince Harry have all gone to Peru to try ayahuasca, as have many in the Silicon Valley elite who create the apps and phones that we use. And it's... what do you guys think? Do you
I think that's how Pat came up with Minnect. He was on ayahuasca, and he was like, a minute, connect.
I was just actually with my kid watching Machine Gun Kelly's diss track to Eminem, and it wasn't as good as I remembered it being.
Yeah.
I understand people want spiritual connections. They want to touch the infinite. They don't understand all that you're doing is rewiring. You're rewiring or messing with the proper functioning of your brain, and you just hope it goes back to normal afterwards.
Do you? Okay, I agree. I agree 100%. Do you think though that there is we're here in this moment right now, David? Is there other dimensions and stuff happening around us in the spiritual world that you don't see?
I agree 1,000%.
100%.
The way to access it is not by taking drugs. And I don't care, a natural thing from a... Okay, you know, imagine having a dream. I mean, you have them every night. Your pineal gland...
Pineal gland, right here.
And you have a
Third
dream
eye.
that's as vivid as reality.
Yes.
That's good. That's the proper natural functioning of a brain. You induce that dream through drugs and through whatever, and you don't know when it's going to turn off, if ever. You don't know how long it's going to last, and you don't know what... It's not going to open portals. What it's going to do is potentially just traumatize your brain in that medically induced state of psychosis, and it might last for the rest of your life in terms of trauma.
I don't think it's worth...
But David, what about this? What if spiritual realms or any of such ideas, those are just simply ideas? And if we rearrange the brain, causing certain ideas to come to us, isn't that not then the same thing as accessing? Because if we have this understanding that the spiritual is somehow supposed to be physical, but it's precisely not physical because it's spiritual. And when people regularly, just commonly talk about their spirits, they're speaking about their emotions and their inner thoughts. They're not speaking about a physical soul. So if it changes your ideas, and
dude, there's no question it changes your ideas. It makes you more creative. You find connections where they're not. I didn't say it doesn't potentially have some sort of side benefit. People smoke weed and they are a lot more entertaining and humorous than they were before. But you're gambling. I mean, you're gambling with the only brain you have.
No doubt.
I have the same opinion of ayahuasca and this kind of stuff, like I do with Ouija boards, for example. 95% of it, it's crap.
Yeah.
The other 5%, God help you if you open yourself up to it.
Yeah, it's scary, dude.
You will experience things that are probably not real, but then if you do experience something real, you endanger everything that makes you who you are.
And go ahead,
I think there was an argument that, wasn't it something, I heard it, I forgot where I heard it, but that we only use like 10% of our brain.
Might be a little bit less.
Which I think is a myth, but
do you think it's a myth?
It's the common.
I want to say 6%.
Well, how about this?
You think so?
Human senses and the human brain only comprehends 10% of reality.
Okay, so that makes sense. So like I only know from, I guess, like an artistic sense where like there's a lot of music artists like Jimi Hendrix, who they were like on LSD and acid when they were playing, and they just did things that were just not of the norm. So they were able to create, I mean, I think Beethoven was on some other level of something to create the pieces that he did. Do you think that if we didn't have these sort of psychedelics or these sort of drugs, we wouldn't be as creative of a species? Musically, artistically?
I don't think Hendrix go out.
I get it. They all died at 27. I mean,
I agree. I think you have a point. It's not maybe that it's the only way to access creative ideas, but when normal reality pulls you down so much to boring, ugly things like race, money, crime, like material, bodily things, it's helpful to be pushed in a certain direction, but you could also get it from church, you could get it from music, you can get it from, contemplating history or science, whatever, but it's... certainly, this one-shots you.
I was going to mention this actually when we were talking about Lil Nas X, because I know we got to...
I got to wrap this up.
Because I'm a huge literature nerd. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the story of Dr. Faustus. Yep. It's a play where a guy sells his soul to the devil to access greater knowledge. But the whole point of the play is that because knowledge is an elevating thing that comes from God, by seeking out demonic sources, he can never rise above that. He can never go up. He can only go down. So... at the beginning of the play, he's exploring the universe, seeing the mysteries of all these things as his demon guide shows him how the world works. And at the end, he's just performing parlor tricks for bored royalty because he can never ascend beyond that because the demonic influence pulls him down.
One last thought.
Go ahead.
I've heard the expression you only use 10% of your brain. First of all, who's to say that you're intended to use 100%?
Right.
It's like you're watering a garden. I'm only using 10% of the hose. Yeah, because if you put it at 100, you'll blow your garden out of the ground. So, and that scene from Donnie Darko. Remember they said, here's glasses that when you're sleeping, it'll generate images, or when you're seeing dark, it'll give you images. And it was Noah Wiley, the teacher. He's like, well, what if your brain needs that downtime? Like, you open it up to 100%. A, you might not close it off again, but B, there might be a good genetic, physiological, evolutionary reason why it only operates that. You need to be able to tune stuff out to function properly. Open it up to everything. You won't function properly, but enjoy your dream.
I agree. I like that a lot. Okay, guys, last story. The U.S. Army is soft as shit. So talk to us about it.
So I have a very bold statement to make here, and it did catch me a little flack when we posted this article on Instagram. But the United States Army is weaker, smaller, and less white than ever.
Oh my gosh.
So let's get into this.
Okay.
And, allow me to defend myself and explain what was meant here.
A lot of people were mad at that title.
This whole report is available on VT.com if you're interested in reading the sources and everything. But let me take you back to 2011. A congressional commission launched in 2009 was studying diversity in the United States military, particularly the leadership. This was like very early DEI stuff.
Okay.
Back before they'd really put the label on it, but it was just to examine diversity. After this study went from 2009 to 2011 when this report came out, they came out with this finding that was published in an NBC News headline, which is, as you can see, too many whites and too many men lead the U.S. military.
Great.
So Congress identified this as a problem.
Yeah.
My God.
In 2023, looks like they've gotten their wish. Let's go ahead and pull up this report from military.com. White male recruits in the United States Army have declined by almost 50% since 2018.
50%?
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
It's all trans that want to get the crotch.
In 2018, there were 44,042 white male recruits.
Okay.
In 2023, there were 25,070.
Wow.
Oh, we're again.
That's massive. I mean,
That's massive.
That's insane.
That's remarkable.
And that is not just a drop off of, a giant chunk in 1 year. It has declined steadily every year from 2018 to 2023. The biggest drop off came between 2022 and 2023 when it fell by 6%. But it has steadily gone down ever since. Now, the military.com data that we just threw up there, the Army did not give them regional data. So they just shared overall. Now, if you were to look at it by state level, do you think you might see a trend of, red southern states of people not wanting to join the Army? Can't imagine why people wouldn't want to hop in there anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
no crap.
Now, at the same time, the percentages of black and Hispanic people have actually gone up. Blacks from 20 to 25, Hispanics from 17 to 24. But
Are you 1,000 or percent?
A percent.
Okay.
That's a lot.
And that is not because more black and Hispanic people are enlisting. That is because the white percentage is dropping so quickly that it's proportionately higher.
Wow.
In the same way that, Christy being the only woman on a panel of 5, there's 20% female representation here. If half of us leave, her female representation goes up.
That was the question. Raw numbers for blacks and Hispanics, have they stayed the same?
They've stayed largely consistent. Now, the drop-off is much more significant than birth rates are dropping off. But in that window, the Army missed the recruitment goal last year, 2023, by 10,000 soldiers. They had a goal. They were 10,000 short.
Great.
Of that number, of the people they did get, only 44% of the people who came in were white males.
Oh my God.
All the rest of them were from other demographics.
Well, not to stop you, but do you guys realize the majority of these guys that but they sign up and they go and they fight in the Navy SEALs training, they're white guys.
Yeah.
Those are the majority of the white guys that are proud and fighting. There must be a reason that these guys are saying, you know what? Nope. Is it because the country that they love is not worth fighting for?
I'll get into some of the reasons why they're trying to explain this.
Okay.
But like it or not, this is a majority white country. You can hate that. You can want to change that. People actually are. But at the same time, you have to acknowledge that when you alienate the majority group, you end up with a military that will no longer be as strong or have as many people. So that's where you get into what I was saying earlier with the declining birth rates. We have some of the birth rate statistics and the population percentage change over time. And you can see that the population of white people, according to the latest census data, is going down. But not nearly at the rate it is in the military, which means you can't even explain it, there's more people of one demographic or another. It's just there are fewer white men going into the Army.
I'd be curious.
Choosing to, exactly.
I'd be curious to know if that stat is reflected or similar to law enforcement in general.
That's a very good question.
Not knowing if you looked into
I wrote an article on VT.com, shameless plug, about how police all over the country are struggling to recruit people, even offering salaries, starting salaries with no experience at all, 100K, 115K, because no one wants to do the job.
Well, then you get the Mohammed Noors of the world. I'm not picking him in particular, other than the fact that he obviously was incompetent and shot, what was her name, Diamond. his diamond through the window.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you get new recruits who are incompetent and
Incompetent.
Thinking that they would eliminate police brutality by putting in the criminal justice reforms since the death of George Floyd, they've instead increased the chance of brutality because you're hiring people with no experience because you're desperate, and you still only see 45-minute response rates in cities as big as LA.
It's really, and I'm doing this very, very fast. And there's two main reasons that I think. It's that the country doesn't give a shit about them anymore. That they've made the left has made the cops and the military. You wave a flag, and it's the connotation is, look at that racist MAGA. By the way, MAGA. Make America Great Again. I never thought that'd be a racial thing.
Yeah.
And then when you say defund the police and you're suing cops, why would you want to sign up? Why in your right mind would you want to do it?
Yeah, on the recruitment front, Patrick actually put out a video like 7-8 months ago talking about this. Yeah, the woke military crisis.
What a thumbnail.
There was a huge shortfall even last year. Even according to the numbers they were reporting from 2022, the whole military was falling. But white people, like I said, the stats from the latest census and everything show that the population is smaller.
I actually thought that picture was the Ghostbusters 4.
Almost.
That is so freaking funny.
This would have been a more entertaining cast than
Ghostbusters 5.
But if you remember when they announced the census data and it said there were a smaller percentage of white people, they announced this on every late night comedy show and they applauded.
Yeah, I got an Apple News
laughed.
notification for that.
They love it, huh?
Because
that's kind of weird.
It seems kind of racist to celebrate when there's fewer of a certain group of people, but you can't be racist against white people, as it turns out.
No, of course you can't.
Victory lap to take, just
So I wanted to touch on the possible explanations they floated for this.
Okay.
Because when they gave military.com all this information, they said it's possibly because of obesity that's making people not fit to meet the requirements.
Sorry, actually stop there because I was going to ask you that question. Is it recruit or is it admitted past entry? Is it admitted past application?
General recruitment is
those who make it in, period.
Yes.
Not submissions, but those who make it in, make the cut.
Make the cut.
Okay, so they might be getting the same number of applicants, but they're cutting a lot of them due to weight.
Exactly. Yes, they could say that because apparently only 23% of people 18 to 24 are mentally and physically fit for military service.
Which incidentally is not an explanation at all because it means that a lot of the other bad policies that are having an impact further down the line. So, okay, it's not white men not doing it. It's just we're destroying the white men earlier on.
Everyone's obese and crazy.
These are the other reasons. Obesity, underfunded public education that's making people not,
that doesn't make
it doesn't make a lot of sense because the military usually recruits the people who aren't valedictorian.
Right.
Yeah.
No insult to the military, of course, but they know their audience.
No, but also they do recruit, and the compensation is free education. I mean, that's
exactly
a benefit, not doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no,
but here's
nothing makes sense anymore.
Here's the one that got me: partisan scrutiny. They are saying that the military has become so politicized by the right that that white men. Because here's the direct quote: "It's partisan scrutiny from quote." Conservative lawmakers and media, which has an overwhelmingly white audience.
Can I quote
It's
Ron Burgundy
disinformation.
here? That doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't.
Yeah. So they're saying that because
it's fake news.
Yeah. They're saying the right wing has convinced itself the army's woke. So they're telling their army of white men who watch the Fox News and Tucker Carlson at home, don't enlist in the military, and that's why the drop-off is.
Oh my God.
But I have another theory. Throw up a quick collage of things that might perhaps explain what we're seeing.
Wait a minute. Rachel Levine, which is
Admiral Richard/Rachel Levine, the drag queen who performed for the Navy for a while by the name of Harpy Daniels.
Is that a little person on the right? Right?
She's not a little person.
The guy on the bottom left. I see on TikTok. Or I've seen clips of on
What's
TikTok.
his deal? I don't know.
Well, he's a drag.
He's in the Navy, and he moonlights as a drag queen, and they hired him to do like LGBT relations with the Navy.
Shut up. I'm sorry, who paid him to do that?
The Navy.
The U.S. Navy.
The United States government.
I didn't want to have an answer.
Wait, can you go back, Kelly? Was that Hitler? Wait, was that Hitler in the middle?
Yeah.
Who's that in the? Go back one more. Was that Hitler? Oh, that's Biden with the red background.
Right at the
Dark
center.
Brandon.
That is when Joe Biden stood up in front of the entire country and declared MAGA Republicans and politically radicalized white men are the biggest terrorist threat to this country.
Yeah, of course he did.
He's done this dozens of times since
White guys. And by the way, so what you're saying is no white guys are joining the military, and I mean it's I think that's good news actually because there's no missiles to shoot, so it's kind of coincides with it. You know what I mean?
The only fringe benefit is you might be less likely to run off to war. Can you imagine though that explanation there that it's the right-wing media that's demonizing when you had Dark Brandon say that the greatest threat to democracy is
white people. MAGA.
It's just another example of confession through projection of accusing your enemies of doing exactly what you are yourself.
The left
But here's one last thing that I think is a major contributing factor. Remember 2021, General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, right there. He sat in front of Congress and said, "I want to understand white rage, and I'm white."
Confession through projection.
Oh
I have
God.
no doubt that man has rage and does terrible things.
Look at it, the bags under his eyes. If he got in an airplane, you have to check those things. It's a Baltinian on his eyes.
Soros eyes.
Yeah, it's that demon eyes.
It's if you're evil on the inside long enough, it starts to come out one way or the other.
Yeah, it's oozing under his eyelids.
The New Zealand woman Jacinda
Ardern.
I made a before and after, not to judge a woman's looks, but to say like evil will catch up with
It'll start oozing on
Millie looks
We're seeing
like
goblin
incarnate.
phenotypes come back in
Except Nancy
public.
Pelosi, she's like looking younger and younger.
Yeah,
which is
that's
really
adrenochrome.
weird.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but when you take all that together, what you're left with is a military establishment that continually denigrates and discredits white people, talks about how you guys are the biggest threat to the country, you are terrible, you're responsible for all oppression.
Yeah.
And eventually, you just get people who's like, why would I have any interest in serving a country that hates me?
That hates me.
Wait, we needed you. We need you to fight our wars in Ukraine. Wait, where'd you go?
Well, it's the same attitude with the people that the soldiers that now are like that they kicked out for not getting the vax. Now they're like, no, please come back. The hell with the needle.
I have stats on that too.
Yeah.
During the COVID vaccine mandate in the military, 8,400 service members were expelled across all branches of the military. And people were able to file for religious exemptions.
Yes.
But they were turned down in the following numbers. 8,945 soldiers, 10,800 airmen, 4,172 sailors, and 3,717 Marines were all denied religious exemptions to the vax. So either get it or be discharged.
Yep.
And we're at the very beginning of that, it was a dishonorable discharge, if you recall.
Wow.
And just to give a shout out, because I know he's watching, I connected with a gentleman, a guy, NYPD cop. His name is Lewis. Shout out to Lewis. We had a good conversation. Kelly was in the car with me too before we did the show with Brian Callen, and he's like, "Bro, I hung on as long as I could. I tried to do the religious exemption, and they're like, nope, he got it, and now he's starting to have heart racing things, and dude, it's like, and then he's wondering like, can you sue?"
Yeah.
Like, can we sue these people?
The military can't sue in general.
And he's a cop.
They're the number one experiment victims of the U.S. government.
Yep.
So it's an amazing thing. Like in Canada, when we had our forest fires, I think it was last summer.
Yeah.
It's like, we have no firefighters. We're shipping in firefighters from South Africa. Because they literally fired people and kicked them out if they didn't get vaccinated. And now look, we are totally naked.
And crazy, not to go off subject because we have to close up. Justin Trudeau, did you find out about all the, those 14 fires that were happening in Canada? Apparently, it wasn't climate change. It was some guy that admitted he was arson, lighting all these fires on fire.
It was arson, but the media told us it wasn't arson.
Climate change, the place is too hot.
Well, to bring this to a conclusion here, I'm not sitting here saying that the race demographics of the Army matter. The people in the military are the ones who volunteer to serve their country. Whatever their reasons for being there, they are people who are doing that. We rely on our military. It's our deterrent. It's our strength. And the color of that fighting force really shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
The reason it matters is because while the majority group is declining, the other groups are not rising up, which means we are smaller and weaker than ever.
Right.
It is not weaker and smaller than ever because we are less white, but we are seeing it get smaller and weaker at the same time.
Well,
it becomes less
you know
white.
what they're going to have to do? Let illegals
import
join
them.
And that's what a great systematic.
It'll go from offering free education to join the military to offering free citizenship if you join the military, and then you've basically you've created your mercenary army.
That's a private army.
Fix the problem.
And a free gun that they can just turn on us, and here's a gun. Go against us.
They'll do the background checks. Come on.
Yeah,
trust them.
Well, so Connor, thanks for scaring the shit out of everybody.
I didn't pick to go last.
No, it's all good because now we have
ended with the demons.
We have ayahuasca and demons. We have no soldiers to shoot the no missiles that we have that were depleted. But I want to thank everybody out there. Well, David, thank you for coming with your new truck. Connor, Shane, Christy, I love you to death. And guys, just last time, my competition, I got a bunch of Minnects while I was sitting here. Kelly got some Minnects too. The competition is real. Kelly, can you put that up there for people to see it? There's the Minnect. For me, if you want, scan it. You can do it with your phone on top of your computer, right?
Vinny's lonely.
I'm lonely. I need this suit. It's a $2,000 suit. By the way, I'm gonna everybody's gonna get on it, right?
Of course.
You guys are all gonna get on it. Everybody's on Minnect. David, I'm gonna hook him up after we get off.
Is that really a $2,000 suit?
No, the winner of this race of 500 gets a $2,000 suit.
I mean, come on, people. Do you think Adam Sosnick needs another suit?
He doesn't need a suit. I need it. So scan on the code right there. Kelly and Arnold's on there as well. Guys, thank you so much, guys and gals, for tuning in. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you for supporting. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe right now. Click the notification bell because sometimes our times change. Not all the time, but once in a while. Stay notified. Guys, God bless you all. Take care of each other. Be happy. If you see something, say something. God bless you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.